Our third week of trialing some Facebook Live in the second week of our fundamental series. Last week we covered off a little bit of joint mobilization, joint rolling, which perhaps got us a few more giggles and laughs than we thought it might have done. We didn't really think too much about the name of that title beforehand, and the expectation of a few people who maybe watched the video is different to what the content of the video was. So this week we're going to keep it fairly simple and call what we are doing our sit and reach. So basically the sit and reach is think on the top version of a squat. The squat itself is obviously a fairly in-depth movement in terms of body parts that move to facilitate the squat, but basically your sit and reach is very much the simple initiation of some movement from the hips, knees and ankles. We'll be doing this in bare feet today. If you have the opportunity to kick off your shoes at work, if you're following along live, or if you're watching this back later, try and be barefoot or socks as a minimum. That's generally where you'll get the best results out of this. So, alrighty. So today's going to be all about just your find the variation, okay? But your range of motion, just being aware of how much range you go through. It's not about going all the way to the ground. Some of the foot positions we're going to go through today, with the pre-stretch they set up, are gonna set it up so your range of motion could change. Okay, so just be aware of what you're doing with your movements, and don't try and just go to the ground every single time. It's about exploring your movements with this one as well. Okay, so the idea, guys, is that we don't want you to work in every single one of these positions at all. We'll show you through all of them, but finding the spot that's your stickiest, your least comfortable. Don't work the position that feels like it's the easiest for you. That's what the body would ordinarily want to do. So challenge yourself by putting yourself into the positions that are less comfortable. So find your top 3 positions out of the 33, 36, 39 variations that we run through now, and see what is best for you. We're going to try and keep this to about 5 minutes. We rambled on a little bit too long last week. So we'll start with your hip width variation. Okay, so basically I'm going to use the line here as a little guide point as to where arches of my feet are, or toes are, or heels are. So just keep an eye out for where they are in relation to everything that we do. So feet start parallel with this first variation. Like I said, that sit and reach is very much just that easy flex into the knees, softening of the hips, just gripping into the ground a little bit with my feet as I go through. So driving the big toes down. From there, what we do is we just have the body mirror. So toes turn out. For our next footprint, and then heels turn out and toes turn in. For our third in that hip width position. From there, we shoot to about half a foot's length forward on one side. Again, I just tend to throw the arms forward as well, which is something that you may have seen us do as part of warm-ups in group exercise sessions. That just adds a little bit of thoracic extension, which we will talk about again in the coming weeks. So you can see that Joe just keeps the movement nice and smooth, so he's not trying to rush through it, and then he just sets himself up onto the foot position. So this second position, I've gone quite wide. Third position, I should say, I've gone quite wide with my feet, having had my feet offset in that hip width position. Now my feet are going about 1.5 times the width of hips to go through the next little series. Toes out, heels in. Toes in, heels out. Now this for me is one of my real good ones that gets quite a lot happening in and around my hips and down on the lateral side of my legs. Again, from that wider hip position, the offset, split stance, feet are parallel, Heels out. Toes in. And then the final variation is coming from a really nice narrow position. Again, if this is a real challenge for either your hips, your knees, or your ankle flexibility, then just widen up ever so slightly. So from there, toes go out. Toes come in, heel go out.
So to save time, we won't necessarily go that.
Yeah. So from there again, we'd look at being half a foot forwards. To work into there. To work into there. And to work into there. Which again for me is an absolute ripper to get into my left hip in particular through this left hand side. Awesome. So what we've got is a little combination of this all put into a PDF, which you can either download at your request by sending us an email. So just email Joe C or John K at Vault Fitness. Put a little comment into the Facebook box here, and we'll send something over for you as well. That just basically talks you through those different foot positions, sit and reach variations. Next week, John. Cool. So next week we're going to move into some core activation and breathing. Okay, some of the things that you can apply to all of your exercising. Just a good reset as well, just to make sure that you're aware of how you're breathing, as well as how you're maintaining that core position. Okay, right the way through from the hips up into the trunk, as well as up into the shoulders, and making sure we're managing our stabilization through the whole body. So that'll be next week, so come back and see us then. But for all the updates from today, just leave a comment in here, and Joey and I will get back to you. Thanks guys, we managed to go a little bit shorter today, so see you next week.